Welcome to the Online Horse Fair and an exciting new path for the 21st century. Communication between horse and human without the spoken word, without sound cues, without even hand or body signals. Let's start our exploration. How you perceive the horse will determine what you believe about the horse. This is very important for you to know and think about. All right? Pick out 3 words right now in your head. 3 words that describe a horse for you. Now, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to give you some of mine. Beautiful, brave, mystical, curious, playful, loyal, inspiring, healing. Now let me read you a piece of information. Long before our dreams come true, we can embody the life we want, not just by wishing and hoping, but every day becoming the person. Oprah Winfrey, spoke her truth into existence, overcoming unthinkable circumstances, right, to share stories with the world long before she had a platform. Jim Carrey carried around a self-written $10 million check in his wallet, honing his acting skills long before any actor had ever been paid that much for a movie. So I'm telling you here today, now, that your perception of the horse makes a difference. Take the time to really examine what you think of, what words in your mind that you use when you think of horses. Whether it's your horse or horses in general, it doesn't matter. All right? Okay, let's move on to number 2. What you believe about the horse will develop or limit your success. So if you believe that your horse is going to give you trouble when it comes to a steep downhill, or when it comes to getting in a trailer, loading in a trailer, or unloading for that matter, or crossing a water, a creek, or a little puddle on the ground, or a puddle in the arena. If you think those things, your horse will pick up on that energy. Now, I'm going to suggest later on that they're actually going to pick up on your pictures. But whether you believe that or not right now, you understand, and probably, given that you're here at the fair, you probably have heard other trainers. The better trainers of today have already begun to tell you this pretty consistently across the board. What I mean by that is more than a few trainers are talking about what you do with your mind relative to the horse and about the horse is going to influence the success you have when you get in the saddle or apply the aids or do anything else to try to get that horse to do what it is you want them to do, or even to feel comfortable and calm, right? Okay, so now I would like to read to you, and I asked your pardon because at my age, I don't do memorization too well anymore. So I'm going to read this to you because it is an established fact by science and a fairly new discovery. And I'll connect it to what I'm talking about with the horses when I'm through. All right, in Israel, scientists conducted a remarkable study. A single drop of a participant's blood, that's a human, placed under a microscope and projected on a screen. What they saw was captivating. Bacteria slowly moving around and macrophages, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, phages, Phages, better known as the cleanup crew in blood, just lying dormant. The bacteria were, basically having the run of the house. They were wandering around freely as if on a peaceful evening stroll. The macrophages were fast asleep, ignoring their job entirely. Then something unexpected happened. The scientists tried exposing the participant, in other words, the person who had given the blood, a funny movie. They showed him a funny movie. And the participant's mood lifted. In other words, the guy got the funny and laughed, all right? The macrophages, and then the scientists observed the fact that the macrophages woke up. One of them rolled over to a nearby bacterium, the bad guys, okay, and started devouring with real enthusiasm. This wasn't lunchtime, all right? This was science. Our mood directly influences our immune cells. And again, that's probably not a new thought for you. If you're depressed, it's wintertime and you go out into a group of people and there's flu virus floating around. If you're depressed and feeling down, the chances are you're going to come home with, bugs that are going to develop into flu. And that's not something, that's not a new concept. We understand that as a society. So that's not a new concept, okay? Our mood directly influences our immune cells. All right, now here's the twist on this scientific study. The blood sample that they took from the original participant that they were studying had been separated from the participant and was in a different room. Think about that for a moment. The blood was in a different room from the donor, all right? And in that room, the scientists continued to observe it. And now they say somehow, because they can't explain it yet, the change in the participant's emotional state, completely different room, all right, affected the blood at a distance. Now, I don't know about you, but that kind of blows my mind, all right? The concepts that go along with that sort of make me go, wow, all right? Of course, the next thing I think of, since I'm a horse person, is how does that relate to horses and to humans? So let me refer you to a group that has been establishing themselves for probably, I think, 3 or 4 years. I hope I didn't shortchange them. But they've been around long enough to have credibility. And they fund and do research on horses and how horses affect human beings in the sense of health, all right? Be it psychological health or physical health, all right? And it's called Heart Math, right? And their study is a study of energy, of how the horse's energy influences human energy. And I'm tying this to what the scientists in Israel came up with because they were really shocked when they realized that the blood from their participant, after being removed an entire room for the participant, was still being affected by the participant's mood. So I'm drawing a parallel from that to what the heart math studies have shown, which is that the horse's energy, even though separate from the human, in other words, you don't have to be touching the horse, all right, affects the human body, all right? So let's move on to number 3. So now we'll go to your goal, all right? Your goal here with me is to realize that both you and the horse are capable of communicating with each other without using the spoken word. Hand signals or physical body movements, commonly called aids, will play a part. So when you watch the little video, you will notice that very subtly there are hand signals, there are hand gestures, and there are also body positions. She uses the body as a guide to position the horse at times. And you'll understand that because you've seen it in, the most common one I can think of off the top of my head is the round pen work. And probably most of you are familiar with the fact that your body positioning in the center of a round pen, or anywhere in round pen, if you're doing round pen work with a horse, okay, is a very big part of the communication that's happening between you and the horse. So when I say body positioning, it's much more subtle in the little video you're about to see, but it is the same, okay? In level 1, all right, that is what I call a cheat sheet, right? So using those small indicators that you're going to see on the video, she's using a cheat sheet. And that's perfectly okay, because horses learn through levels. They move up through levels of learning, all right? And so this isn't the end. This isn't the top of where you're going. You're not going to jump in from, you know, only using a spurs and a bat, or spurs and a vocal, to a total communication with your horse without any kind of, you know, spoken word or any kind of aid at all. All right, you're going to work through a level or levels. All right, so in level 1, you don't have to feel like you can't use the cheat sheet. A little bit of body movement, a little bit of voice. But as you see in the video, it becomes very, very, very subtle. All right, even in level 1, it becomes very, very subtle. All right. All right. So we are at level 1. You are working to help establish your mental seat. And in this case, I'm comparing your mind with your physical pelvis. When you first began riding horses, when you first started studying riding, your focus was on your seat and being able to control your seat through your body and various, you know, muscle groups, so that you could sit comfortably on the back of the horse, comfortably for you, comfortably for the horse, and be able to deliver clear communication to the horse. You worked hard. You worked on your seat. So expect to work, you know, just as diligently if you want to explore and become good at finding your mental seat, finding your innate ability. It's not a gift. In my experience, almost most people have the capacity. We just don't develop it. And part of the reason we don't develop it is because we don't believe in it. As a society, we don't believe in it. All right, we don't believe in mental communication. All right, so the cheat sheet is fine, and understand that you are going to be working during that level 1 period on developing your mental seat. All right, and very shortly, the next thing you'll see is the video, and then we'll get on to part 4.
Dreams really do come true. that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I? Oh, someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. The dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't I?
Absolutely no one knows me better. No one that can make me feel so good. How do we stay so long together when everybody said we never would? And just when I start to think they're right, the love has died. There you go, making my heart beat again, heart beat again, heart beat again. There you go, making me feel like a kid. Won't you do it and do it one time? There you go, pulling me right back in, right back in, right back in. And I know I'm never letting this go. I'm stuck on you, whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. You and me, baby, we're stuck like glue. Whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. You and me, baby, we're stuck like glue. Some days I don't feel like trying. Some days, you know, I wanna just give up. When it doesn't matter who's right, fight about it all night, had enough. You give me that look, I'm sorry, baby, let's make up. You do that thing that makes me laugh, and just like that, there you go, making my heart beat again, heart beat again, heart beat again. There you go, making me feel like a kid. Won't you do it and do it one time? There you go, pulling me right back in, right back in, right back in. And I know I'm never letting this go. I'm stuck on you, whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. You and me, baby, we're stuck like glue. Whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. from the ATL. Whoa, whoa, feeling kinda sick. Just a spoonful of sugar, make it better real quick. I say, whoa, whoa, what you gonna do with that? Whoa, whoa, come on over here with that sugar sticky sweet stuff. Come on, give me that stuff. Everybody wants some melodies that get stuck up in your head. Whoa, whoa, 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 stuck like glue. You and me together, say it's all I wanna do. I said, there you go, making my heart beat again, heart beat again, heart beat again. There you go, making me feel like a kid. Won't you do it and do it one time? There you go, pulling me right back in, right back in, right back in. And I know I'm never letting this go. There you go, making my heart beat again, heart beat again, heart beat again. There you go, making me feel like a kid. Won't you do it and do it one time? There you go, pulling me right back in, right back in, right back in. And I know I'm never letting this go. I'm stuck on you, whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. You and me, baby, we're stuck like glue. Whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. You and me, baby, we're stuck like glue. Whoa, whoa, stuck like glue. You and me, baby, we're stuck like glue.
You're better than the best. I'm lucky just to linger in your light. Cooler than the flip side of my pillow. That's right. Completely unaware. Nothing can compare to where you send me. Lets me know that it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. In the moments when my good times start to fade, you make me smile like the sun, fall out of bed, sing like a bird, dizzy in my head, spin like a record, crazy on a Sunday night. You make me dance like a fool, forget how to breathe, shine like gold, buzz like a bee. Just the thought of you can drive me wild. Oh, you make me smile. Even when you're gone, somehow you come along just like a flower poking through the sidewalk crack. And just like that, you steal away the rain. And just like that, you make me smile like the sun, fall out of bed, sing like a bird, dizzy in my head, spin like a record, crazy on a Sunday night. You make me dance like a fool, forget how to breathe, shine like gold, buzz like a bee. Just the thought of you can drive me wild. Oh, you make me smile. Don't know how I live without you, 'cause every time that I get around you, I see the best of me inside your eyes. You make me smile. You make me dance like a fool, forget how to breathe, shine like gold, buzz like a bee. Just the thought of you can drive me wild. You make me smile like the sun, fall out of bed, sing like a bird, dizzy in my head, spin like a record, crazy on a Sunday night. You make me dance like a fool, forget how to breathe, shine like gold, buzz like a bee. Just the thought of you can drive me wild. Oh, you make me smile.
You make me smile.
Oh, you make me smile.
You make me smile.
Oh, you make me smile.
it's important to understand, number 4, that you want to expand your conceptualization, to expand your consciousness and access your brain capacity. You probably learned in science in high school or somewhere along the line that the human brain is only used at something like 1/10 of its capacity or even less. So that's what number 4 is about. You have the ability, and I want you to expand your conceptualization, how you hold this in your mind, all right? In order to expand your consciousness, because I want you to access the additional brain capacity that you have, the additional brain capacity that is required to find that place where that communication can go from the mind of the horse to the mind of the human, from the mind of the human to the mind of the horse, and both of them understanding. All right, let's move on. Knowing is not the same as understanding. You can choose to know something, and in the sequence of time, that energy is then released in an instant. So if I'm talking about somebody saying, oh, I know, all right, that oh, I know takes a few seconds. Really, that's all. I mean, you can get into a discussion about it, but the simple statement, oh, I know, that no takes a few seconds. And the energy that is released in an instant, and it's gone in an instant. Unless somebody says, okay, let's sit down and you talk to me about how you know. You explain it to me. Make me know. All right? So the energy is gone in an instant. But to understand involves study, analysis, comparison, and time. So know that if you take this system on for these goals, a goal of communicating with the horse outside of the spoken word, it's going to take you time. It's going to take you time to learn. It's going to take you time for the horse to learn that it's okay, that as a human being, there's actually a possibility that you can hear his thoughts, all right, or her thoughts. But if you are committed and diligent, you can access the energy of knowing through understanding. Some people may have a gift, we call it a sixth sense. Some people may have a sixth sense, which makes it easier for them. All right? But I want to be very clear about the fact that my experience has shown me repeatedly that it's not a gift. It's not a gift that is limited to only a few people. It is a condition that you have as a human being that requires awareness, the correct concept, and then the willingness to practice just like you practice any other skill, including learning how to talk when you were a baby. Let's look at the steps to begin this journey. I call them practice sessions. Step 1, preparation. Quiet your energy, right? You can use known methods like meditation or listening to pleasant, relaxing music to get yourself into a calm mental place. You should have a little food in your stomach and be well hydrated before starting. Step 2, the environment. It is best, if possible, to be able to work in a private space with a single horse, preferably one that is familiar with you, and the longer and deeper the history of the connection, the better. Okay? The location for the work can be in a paddock, a stall, an arena, a pasture, or any relatively quiet, uncluttered space. Right? If your practice location is in a pasture, you can be at some distance, say even 20 feet or, give or take a variable distance from the horse. Step 3, position. Position yourself in such a way that allows you to be comfortable, all right, from 1 hour to as much as a couple hours. Okay, it's not that you can't move, it's just that you need to be able to stay there without getting up and running for your phone, or running in the house, or running in the barn, or, running after the dogs, right? If the horse approaches you of its own accord, whether that's in like a paddock or in a pasture, that's fine. The horse is allowed to choose its distance from you, and that's important to know, right? Furniture, in other words, what you can use to help make you comfortable. Furniture can be a chair, it can be a bench, a log, a hay bale, a mounting block. In other words, it doesn't matter what you're sitting on or however you perch yourself. All right. And then the other thing is you can read during this period of time. I mean, if you stop and think about it, if you're going to spend maybe as long as, and this is the outer limits in early practice, but you need to be prepared to spend as long as it takes the horse. And probably it's going to, as long as it takes the horse to accept you. And it's probably going to extend to more than one day. As a matter of fact, I would say you can count on it being extending to more than one day, this practice time. So you need to be comfortable, and so just take that into consideration, right? You can read during this period of time, but at the same time, when you read, you're not reading a deep mystery where you lose the fact that your main reason for being there in this place, in this field, in this pasture, in this paddock, whatever, with this horse is the horse. So you aren't intensely focused on the horse, because with some horses, if you do that, you sit there for 15 minutes and you're like a cougar that just sits and I'm going to look and I'm going to look and I'm going to look because I'm about to pounce. You're going to send the horse away from you, especially if they're a timid horse. So while your focus has to be on the horse, it can be a soft focus, which can allow you to actually be quietly reading a book. All right? Just remember that your purpose for being there is not what's on that book page. It's the horse. And the act of reading the book is like a gimmick for you to encourage the horse, or to reassure the horse that you are not a cougar because of the intensity of your focus. So being intense with your focus is not going to get you to your goal faster. Just be aware of that. Okay. You can actually use calming music, but at a very low volume, and it should blend with the natural surrounding sounds of the environment, not disturb or upstage them. So no heavy metal, if you please. Okay. Whether you're practicing inside or out. The horse should also be as comfortable in its body as is normal for it. What I mean by normal for it is if you have an older horse that has aches and pains, you can absolutely do this with the older horse. The fact that the older horse has an ache and pain doesn't prevent you from spending the time to ask it to come forth and speak with you, and ask its permission to be able to be willing to receive what you're sending towards it, the sentences and the words you're sending towards it, right? So it doesn't have to be a young, healthy horse, right? But the horse must be comfortable, comfortable in its body, right? If at all possible, have other horses at enough of a distance as to not to be able to create an immediate distraction and disturb either your focus or the horse's focus during the time of your practice sessions. And what that looks like is if you're practicing in your horse's paddock and it has a neighbor right next door, and it's one of those situations where the neighbor right next door and your horse next to it maybe aren't the best buddies, and the other horse gets curious, and you've got a conversation or almost a conversation going with your horse, and the neighbor horse comes over and says, I'm jealous, I'm going to pin my ears and make a run at the fence. It's going to distract your horse. So that's what I mean as far as make sure that the distances are such, the circumstances are such that can't happen. And of course, if there's more than one horse in the pasture, then that even gets broader, because the horse can come over and push your horse away, the horse that you're focusing on, meaning your horse, away, or something like that. So be aware of that, because you don't want to disturb, if possible, you don't want to disturb that special space, that kind of sacred space that you're creating, that energy that you're creating between you and the horse that you're focusing on or want to communicate with. Okay, so step 4, topic focus. After settling yourself comfortably, focus your attention on your horse. Let any disturbances in the environment flow over you and move on. It's not that you won't be aware of them. Somebody dropped the bucket in the barn. Clang. Okay, you're aware of it, but you don't get all upset because what was in the bucket and where did they drop it and whose stall were they in front of. You just go, okay, bucket water goes right on by. You just let it go. Right? You don't hang on to it. If at all possible, keep your thoughts on the conversation you want to establish, with your horse or the horse you have selected as your partner for this practice. If you choose to read for a period of time during the practice session, your book should be of a light nature, not one of doom and gloom or emotional roller coaster events. Again, so that book has got to it's more there as a tool for you to make sure that you don't get hard-eyed, as Sally Swift used to say, hard-eyed when you're looking at that horse, so that you scare the bejesus out of. Number 5, repetition. Like any riding skill, to acquire and refine your abilities, practice needs to be consistent. Right? Best results are often experienced when the consistency includes similarities in location, time of day, and relationship to other activities. Like, you wouldn't want to, okay, it's Tuesday, my day was busy, I know I'm supposed to practice with this, okay, I'll run out to the barn and practice with this. You get out to the barn and oops, it's feeding time. That's my point. You wouldn't want to do that. It would almost be better to skip the practice than to try to do it in the middle of feeding time, especially if it's early in establishing the awareness of the horse between what's going on between the two of you, or what your intent is when you go out to these periods, spend these periods of time with the horse. Okay. Number 6, during the period of time you share with your equine partner, in other words, during these practice sessions, and hear this, okay? It is of critical importance that you hold the intention of communicating without any expectations. Now, that's going to be a toughie. You might have to think it through, because of course we have expectations. We're expecting to be able to communicate with the horse. Your intent is to communicate with the horse. That's your picture. But you have no expectations. And the reason for that is if you have expectations on behalf of the horse or on behalf of yourself, and you give it what you figure is a fair shot in time, but the expectations aren't met, what you expect isn't met, you're going to begin to experience frustration. If you experience frustration, you're going to shut down the channel to your horse, because they will experience the frustration. They won't understand why. They'll just get it as a closing energy, as a negative energy. So if you need to think about that for a few minutes, why, think about it in your head, all right? The intent is not the same as expectation. A lot of people want to put those two things back to back like Siamese twins. But think about it, because it's important, okay? The horse must feel free. And this is the other part of what I'm saying, why no expectations. The horse must feel free to choose whether or not they wish to converse with you. So if you go out and they don't feel like talking to you, or they don't understand the game that you're playing with them, or anything like that, and you go 3 days or 4 days or whatever, wherever your limits are before you start to get frustrated, and you start to get frustrated, then they're going to anticipate that time that you're spending with them, which ordinarily is like, okay, well, you're not riding, you're not grooming, you're not doing any of these things, so the horse is standing around going, what do you expect of me? What are you looking for from me, etc. right? And you're going to get frustrated again, and that's going to again shut the communication channel down. It dampens or represses the energy. And now the horse is going to anticipate those periods with you. Here she comes again, here he comes again, and I know he's going to be angry when he leaves without an understanding of what caused your frustration, right? So no expectations. The horse must be free to choose whether or not they wish to converse with you, right? You may not like it, but that's the rules. Okay. Step 7. Regardless of your assessment of the outcome of any given practice session, you will end or close the session by thanking, genuinely thanking the horse. If it's away from you, you can walk up to it, you can touch it, you can put your hands around its neck, you can just send the thanks from your thought processes, you can do any of those things, okay? But you're going to thank the horse for its willing participation. I don't care how you would put it in a notebook, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, all right? But whether you think it was willing or not, you are going to, you're going to do that. You're going to thank the horse for its willing participation. That was step 7. Step 8, you're going to keep a diary. Only requires a paragraph or so, but if you're a writer, you can write a page, right? But you need a paragraph, and really, I'm not expecting you to be a writer or an author or anything like that, because all you really need to do in that paragraph about that day, all right, is write words. They don't have to be full sentences even, but write words about thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, or any other impression you are aware of during the practice session, right? So I'll be absolutely clear. You think you can't write a note to the grocer? I don't care. You don't have to write a note. It doesn't have to have a capital at the beginning and a period at the end. You can just write words. But I want those words quickly after the session, not 3 days later. I want them, if possible, I want them within 15 minutes of the time you close the session, you've thanked your horse, and you've moved on to whatever your next chore or your next whatever it is, okay? All right, step 9. Repeat, 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 repeat. And review your notes. You're going to keep them. Each time you have a session, you're going to keep your notes, all right? You're going to review your notes for the specific purpose, all right, of comparing any similarities or repetitive behaviors at least once a week. So you can review your notes every day. You can go back as far in your notes as you want, and you can think about what you've written. But once a week, you're going to review all of the notes at one time. And the only thing you're going to be searching for in those notes at that time, you can read them as many times as you want, but at that time, the only thing you're going to be searching for is the similarity or repetitive behaviors on the part of the horse, right? So you might go through 5 days. You might go through 7 days, all right? And then you might go, oh, well, that's interesting. He did this when I did this, or he did this at a certain period of time. Can I account for it in any other way? Did the bell on the phone ring? Did this? No. But there's the repetitive behavior. And there's the repetitive behavior. I wonder what that repetitive behavior is telling me. Could it be connected to a thought? Is he attempting to deliver a thought? And I'm not getting it, and he thinks I'm a dummy. But if I notice the repetitive behavior, I can upgrade my dummy status in his eyes by the 3rd time I see that repetitive behavior, becoming more observant of everything else about that horse. So I can begin to receive the energy. I'm opening the channel for the energy that he is sending, so that maybe I can begin to form a word. He can begin to form a word, all right? And the human, which is usually the dumber animal, sorry about that, but it's true, okay? Sorry for saying it, don't mean to offend anybody, but it's true, can catch up to the horse, all right? So the other thing you need to know about that is the similarities don't have to be consecutive days. So when you go back and look through a week or 2 weeks or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's not back to back. The repetitive behavior on the part of the horse doesn't have to be back to back. I mean, on the first day, then it can be on the third day, then it can be on the seventh day, then it can come back on the eighth day. What your job is you've got to be a really good detective, and you've got to pay attention to the facts of the similarity. All right. Okay. With those thoughts in mind, I suggest you revisit the video in this presentation. The second level of this work is work on extending an interactive communication between horse and human that becomes clearer, moving beyond the gut instinct of feeling your horse understands you to a place in which you can hear their thoughts and comments about your daily interactions. Let me read that again very quickly. The second level, when you progress your work to the second level, when you accomplish the first level, demonstrated by the video, remember you've looked at that video, okay? And you're going for the second level, all right? The work is on extending an interactive communication between horse and human that becomes clearer, moving beyond the gut instinct of feeling your horse understands you to a place in which you can hear their thoughts and comments about your daily interactions. And yes, when I say hear, it's in your mind, not in your ears, but it's in your mind. But yes, it happens in sentences, like human sentences, just in case somebody's wondering. The second level is the next level, the one I know is possible for many more people than currently realize it. It's a matter of what one will allow, what you will allow the mind, your mind, to accept as a real possibility. Okay, now before I finish, I will share an example with you because at least some of you, I'm sure, are wondering, well, have you ever had this happen to you? The answer is yes, more than once. But I'm only going to share one with you, one I think that you'll enjoy. I was assisting Peggy Cummings, right, at a clinic. 12 riders went through the 2 days or whatever it was of classes, gathered as a clinic often does, you know, at the end of a clinic, whoever was riding in the clinic would kind of all gather in front of the auditors so they can be a back and forth answer and, you know, or questions to the clinician and all that. So there's all the auditors, and I'm sitting in the audience because I'm an assistant, and Peggy's standing in front of the auditors, and the riders are lined up on their horses behind Peggy. And in that group of 12 horses, they were all very nice, all right? But in that group of 12 horses was one really outstanding horse. I would have thought he was a quarter thoroughbred cross. That would have been my guess. But he was a beautiful mover. His training was lovely. It's like, okay, I've got 12 horses in the ring and I can't take my eyes off this one horse. I know that some of you have experienced this, all right? So it was that horse, right? And an auditor stands up and puts her hands in the air and says, I'd like to ask a question of the rider on such and such a horse. He was a big chestnut, on the chestnut horse. And she nodded and said, fine. And so the auditor said, what breed of horse is that? The horse's answer was clear as a bell. If I'd been standing on the other end of the arena, I would have heard it. That's how good a projection he was, how good a projector he was, right, in his thoughts, right? And what he said, and he also had a sense of humor, which killed me, just killed me. I almost fell out of the chair. He said to her, I'm a quarter horse, can't you tell? So it wasn't just the fact that he told her he was a quarter horse, but it was the inflection that killed me. You know, I'm a quarter. Can't you tell? Okay, so he had a big ego. But so that was one of the times when the horse was projecting clear enough, loud enough, that it just came through exactly as though there was a human being standing on one shoulder, another shoulder, speaking it in my ear.